Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Good evening and welcome to the July 27th, 2026 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. As the hour is 6 o'clock, I'm calling the meeting to order. The first business this evening is for approximately the next hour. The board will be hopefully meeting in non-public, providing we get a motion and a vote. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to enter into non-public under RSA 91A 32L.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please.
Selectman Chartrand?
Aye.
Selectman Cowan?
Aye.
Selectman Gilman?
Aye.
Clerk says aye, Mr. Chair.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. The board will be meeting in non-public. Thank you. And good evening again. Welcome back to the July 27th, 2026 Town of Exeter Select Board meeting. The board called the meeting to order at 6, and we were in non-public. We've since exited non-public, and I know regular business starts at 7, but we'll try to tackle a few things off of the end of the agenda before we start with what's scheduled for 7. I'd like to start by introducing the board. To my right, Selectman Dan Chartrand. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Our Vice Chair, Selectwoman Molly Cowan. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
To my left, our Clerk, Selectwoman Nancy Belanger. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Selectwoman Julie Gilman. Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
And to my right, our Town Manager, Mr. Paul Cohen. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Assistant Town Manager Melissa Roy. Good evening. Joanna Bartel will be taking our minutes shortly. My name is Nico Papakostandis, and again, good evening to all that are in the room, respective town staff, those watching at home. We can start by approving our minutes from July 13th, 2026. Were there any amendments or revisions?
I had none.
Okay. Then seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the July 13th, 2026 Exeter Select Board regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. The second was by Selectwoman Gilman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Cohen, would you like to give your town manager's report? I think we've got a couple people here that might be interested.
Sure, thank you. Just a few items for the board's consideration. The first one is about the Park Street Bridge update. As we know, we're making a concerted effort to move that along, and the only item of consequence that has transpired since our last meeting, and really it originated by the neighborhood, which is to see if there'd be an effort to preserve the bridge by the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance. And Mark Furlong, came to our attention that there was right on the doorstep of an application that was due to submit to get into their 7 to Save program. Unfortunately, there wasn't sufficient time to come before this board because it was literally that day, the application was due. So what I offered and was taken up on was that he could put my name in his nomination on behalf of the community. I didn't see a downside to it. And so that's what has transpired. This was previously used for the Ioka Theater effort several years back, and so it's an established program. So again, I want to thank Mark for his efforts, and again, it again draws attention on what not only is an important bridge, but also is a significant historic structure in the town's history.
Can I just add in?
Sure, please.
Just so people understand that it's a designation, much like a National Register designation. It doesn't come with any money or anything.
Right.
But it's an educational thing for the community, and if somebody wants to start making some fundraising to preserve the bridge, then that's the opportunity to brag when we're 7 to Save.
So, Mark, we're starting a little bit early because we finished non-public early. We were having the town manager's report, so we just mentioned the fact that you brought that to our attention and that Mr. Cohen worked with you, and we recognized you for bringing that forward, and then you walked in as we did that. So, the email thread, by the way, is in our packet.
Right. Thank you. The next item I just want to report about, and again, it's another piece of good news, is the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services conducted the annual inspection at our wastewater treatment facility back on June 9th, and we have documentation to this. And I think the best thing to do is just summarize it, which sort of the second paragraph of the letter, which notes that the plant is clean, seems to be running well, and all equipment is in very good condition, and the plant is achieving a high level of compliance due to the staff's tireless commitment and efforts. And I just wanted to, extend, our appreciation on behalf, I know myself, but I'm sure on the community. Sometimes we don't often think of the hidden infrastructure, particularly things that are pipes under the ground, as how vital to our operations. And I just wanted to call out, our public works staff and our operators for that, commendation. And we'll be having a similar effort next month on the water side as well. So again, it just it speaks to the commitment by our staff. And then the last item in my packet and have it here before this evening, I know it's on the table, is we did receive communication from the Exeter Area Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber's Community Guide and Business Directory is now available, so the 2026 edition is here. And obviously, you can obtain one at the Exeter Area Chamber of Commerce office on Water Street, or it's also available online digital at the Chamber's website. So again, we want to acknowledge that, and again, appreciate the efforts to provide that resource to our community. And so that concludes my report for this evening, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I think we have our town clerk here. So with that, we'll start at the top of the agenda. We have our town clerk, Jennifer Shoup, here, and we'd like to thank Chief McCain for inviting Stephen Bolduc to be sworn in as Deputy Police Chief. So with that, sir, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. All right. It's my pleasure to introduce the new Deputy Chief of Police for the Exeter Police Department, Stephen Bolduc. Stephen's been a member of the Exeter Police Department for more than 23 years. I'd like to say that I had a little bit of part bringing him into law enforcement because I was the school resource officer and Steve was a teacher over at the Exeter High School. I've known Steve prior to that. We actually went to high school together. And I would guarantee that there's some Exeter High School teachers that can't believe that the two of us are in charge of one of the highest liabilities departments in the town of Exeter. But I'd like to think that we both matured over the years, and it's my pleasure to introduce him to the town and everybody that's watching. Like I said, he brings more than 23 years of experience of dedicated service to the town of Exeter. Throughout his distinguished career, he's demonstrated exceptional leadership, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to both the department and the community. For the last 7 years, Stephen's acted as a lieutenant within the police department, one of our executive level officers. He's been in charge of 3 different divisions. Most notably is the Patrol Division, our largest portion of the police department. He was also in charge of the Criminal Investigations Division, or detectives. And lastly, he was in charge of professional standards. And you may have heard his name a couple times throughout the last couple of years. Steve was an integral part, if not the most important part, of getting the Exeter Police Department nationally accredited. So it's a huge kudos to him, and we couldn't have done that without his hard work and determination, and it only pays forward with his day-to-day efforts for it. Steve is a lifelong member of the Exeter community. His deep roots, strong relationships with the town make him especially well-suited for this leadership position. His knowledge, experience, and commitment to the public service will serve the community as well as he begins this new chapter. I also like, especially today, I love promotions. I love introducing the new people to you. Promotions are great. We get to celebrate the achievements of our people in our department. But all of that, what I like about the promotions is that we also get to highlight the family. I want to thank Steve's family for showing up today. They ultimately make the most sacrifices because there's a lot of times when the men and women of this department, their spouses and their children, we don't get to go to all the baseball games. We don't get to go to all the recitals because, we're scheduled to work on Christmas and all this stuff. So I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Steve's family. I couldn't be the leader that I am for this town without Steve coming up and being able to help me out. And I just want to say thanks to his family. And I'm glad that his father was able to make it up here to see it firsthand. And as we celebrate the well-deserved appointment, I also want to express my sincere appreciation to the members of the Exeter Select Board for their steadfast support of our police department. I say it time and time again, and I truly feel it. It's a pleasure to work here, and it's a pleasure to feel supported by the people of the Select Board as well as all the residents. So with that, I want to introduce, after he gets sworn in, the newest Deputy Chief of Police for the Exeter Police Department, Stephen Bolduc. At the conclusion of him being sworn in by our town clerk, his wife will pin his badge on him, and I think that's a special occasion. So, without further ado, if Steve would show up.
Right hand.
We're not going to laugh through this. Okay, all right, good to know. Okay, so you're going to repeat after me. I, Stephen Bolduc,
I, Stephen Bolduc,
of Exeter, New Hampshire,
of Exeter, New Hampshire,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will bear faithful
that I will bear faithful
and true allegiance
and true allegiance
to the United States of America
to the United States of America
and the state of New Hampshire,
and the state of New Hampshire,
and will support the constitutions thereof,
and will support the constitutions thereof,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, Stephen Bolduc,
I, Stephen Bolduc,
do solemnly and sincerely
do solemnly and sincerely
swear and affirm
swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me
all the duties incumbent on me
as the Deputy Chief of Police,
as the Deputy Chief of Police,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeable to the rules and regulations
agreeable to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution,
of the Constitution,
and enforce the laws
and enforce the laws
of the state of New Hampshire,
of the state of New Hampshire.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yay.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
Glad you all got to come.
It was nice to meet you. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, before we move on, Joanna, we came out of non-public 15 minutes early, so we tackled the approval of minutes and the town manager's report, so you can get that off of the tape.
Thanks, Chief.
And I'll introduce you again, our recording secretary, Joanna Bartell is here. Good evening. Give you a minute to catch your breath. If you're ready, we'll move forward. Okay. Next, we have public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to come forward with comment to the board. We do ask if your comments are relative to any of the items on the agenda, you wait until that agenda item comes up, but we'll open it up now for public comment. Please.
Good evening, Mark Furlong, 24th Street. I'm here on behalf of the Park Street, Oak Street Neighborhood Group. We don't have an official name yet, we're working on that.
I like that.
I just wanted to give you an update. We met last week, and people felt very positive about the action, the report, I should say, from your meeting 2 weeks ago. When we had the meeting about a month ago with CSX and New Hampshire DOT here, the meeting after that, everybody's like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And I said, well, give the town a little opportunity to respond to what they heard that night. And you'd responded, and we appreciate that. We're going to continue to collect signatures on our petition. We're working on that. And I guess you already heard about the 7 to Save nomination that we made. We probably will come to you in a future meeting asking you to support that, because I did contact the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance, and they indicated that they will allow us to amend our nomination with additional support, and we're working on other support as well. So thank you for that.
Can I just, when you're ready to do that, if you coordinate that through the town manager's office, and as long as we get notice like the Thursday before Monday meeting, we'd be very good to put that on the agenda.
Okay.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. And did you have something you wanted to give us for? You want to wait?
Turn them in later.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, there's nobody online, so we'll move forward. I'd like to invite our moderator, Kate Miller, to come and give us an update on the elections on September 8th, the primary, and November 3rd, the general election.
Thank you.
Good evening, Attorney Miller.
Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here.
So yes, thank you for mentioning once again those dates of the elections coming up. Surprisingly, the primary is the day after Labor Day, so not everyone may have that on their radar screen, so it's great to mention that again. So the primary election is statewide primary. It's held at the Talbot Gym. We've had wonderful presentations about the roundabout construction and assurances on everyone's crossing their hearts that that project will be completed, and so we won't have any problems with traffic flow around that. I think the schools are probably the big motivator for getting that done, so thank you. The general election is November 3rd, and we expect there'll probably be decent turnouts for all of those. We're doing a lot of planning now to make sure that we're well prepared for that. If folks have questions about what's going on, there's a lot of stuff in the news about changes in election laws and things like that. The best sources are the town's website. There's a section on elections, and the New Hampshire Secretary of State's website. That is all up to date. So those are great places if people wonder, what's up with this, that, or the other thing, because there have been some changes between legislative changes and then some other changes through the court system. So that's a good way to be able to keep on top of that. I want to remind folks that if they haven't registered, if they've moved to Exeter, if they've turned 18 or they will be 18 on election day, that it's a good idea to register ahead of time. Coming into the clerk's office, there are extended hours in the evenings on Tuesday and shorter hours on Friday. So bringing your materials to show proof of residency here in Exeter, proof of age, proof of citizenship, you can register right here. If people haven't registered by the election day, they can register at the polling place, but the lines can sometimes be a bit longer then. So we encourage people to come in. The deadline for registering in person closes before the election. So there has to be a period of time when the supervisors of the checklist who keep track of all the registered voters assemble that list so that we know who the voters are on election day. So there is depending on when the supervisors have their last meeting, you have to do math here, between 6 and 13 days before the election. So I would say for folks looking at registering before that September 8 date, do it before the last week of August, because somewhere in that range, they're going to close their books so that they know who the voters are. Again, you can register at election day, but it may take a little bit longer. The clerks are great at running you through that process. There are provisions for people to register by mail if they are unable to make it to the clerk's office or they're unable to attend one of the supervisors of the checklist sessions. So there's information about that on the town website. The other thing for folks to think about setting up in advance is if people know that they will not be able to get to the polls, either they're out of town or they're busy with work or caring for other folks, if you're taking care of either children or other people in your family, that's an eligibility to vote by absentee ballot. However, you need to apply for the absentee ballot ahead of time. You need to receive the absentee ballot ahead of time. You need to return the absentee ballot. And there's a cutoff on election day in terms of when the absentee ballots can be turned in. So people should apply. You can apply now for an absentee ballot if you know you qualify. So folks should do that Right now, the clerk's office is making a great list, and when the ballots become available, they'll start sending them out. The sooner you can do that application, the sooner that you can get your ballots, the sooner you can return them. That all helps a lot on Election Day. It means that every voter who wants to vote is able to vote. So a little bit of planning is super helpful for that. There have been a few changes with regard to students voting. And I wanted to particularly highlight this because this was a change in our law here in New Hampshire, and I have some handouts that I'm going to leave that have information about that. There are a number of students who are eligible to register to vote and don't have a driver's license. So that can be tricky. There has to be a photo ID. It has to be from, it doesn't have to be from the state of New Hampshire, but it has to be a photo ID from a state, New Hampshire or another state, or the federal government, so a passport works. It used to be that school IDs, along with proof of age and residency, were enough to be able to register if you can prove citizenship as well. Now, those student IDs are no longer valid for registering, and they're no longer valid for checking in voters. So that's something for students to be aware of, and it's a change that's taken effect now. So for folks who don't have an ID, a passport, or a driver's license, the state does issue non-drivers identification cards, which are perfect for something like this. So that's something for people to be mindful of, and maybe for parents to think about, so it can be prepared in advance. We want as many people who are eligible to be able to come in and cast their votes. The last thing I would say is we are very much looking for people who would like to assist at the elections. We have a lot of very wonderful, loyal poll workers. They have a rather lofty title, which is called Inspectors of Elections, which covers the people who check in voters, who hand out ballots, who are within the so-called guardrail, which is where only checked-in voters and election workers are allowed to be, who can assist voters with finding the ballot boxes, getting things into the ballot counting machines, and things like that. So the inspectors of election can do many different jobs, and we have lots of jobs on Election Day that need filling. We generally have 2 shifts of people, and so we need dozens of people to be able to cover all of those slots. We do require that folks have training. There's going to be a training done in conjunction with the clerk, the supervisors of the checklist, and me in August, kind of close enough to the election so it won't have all flown out of people's heads, but not so far close to it that everybody is jammed up. So people who are interested, they need to be registered voters in the town of Exeter, and they should contact the clerk's office with an email or a phone call, or come in if they have any questions, and then they'll get information about the training. So we're putting together a list. It is officially the select board that will appoint those inspectors of election, and then we will assign them different duties on Election Day. If we need to have additional people appointed, the moderator can do kind of field promotions of people to become inspectors of election at any point, so we can swear folks in. And the good news is that the term begins August of this year and lasts for 2 years. So people can have lots of elections that they can cover in the next 2 years. The town election in March, and then in 28, we'll have presidential primary as well as all the other elections. So folks who get sworn in now can continue to serve if they wish to for all of those elections. So that's kind of a bunch of information. If people have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions for Selectwoman Gilman, please?
Yes.
Do we want to talk about the purging of the rolls?
So if this, what I understand you're referring to, I hope I have this right, is for people who have not voted in, is it 4 years?
5.
5 years. So my daughter recently got one of these letters because she's gone away to college and she's not voting in this state anymore. So she got a letter delivered here saying, "Dear Rosalind, we're taking you off the voter rolls." That doesn't mean people have done anything bad. It just means that after a certain amount of time, to make sure we have active voters on our rolls, that we take off, the supervisors of the checklist take off the folks who haven't voted. That can come as a big surprise to people, because if someone's missed, say, a presidential election year for some reason, they could well have gone more than 5 years without voting. So it is important for people, if they have any questions about whether or not they're registered, to check that.
Yeah, and I just want to say that for folks who are registering, new registrants, and if these folks have to re-register, one of the things that's required is the proof of citizenship. And you can get that through your, by getting your birth certificate, and you get that through your town clerk. And so if you've moved here and are going to be a new registrant, contact the clerk at the community that you came from, and so you get the documents in order, and you'll be processed faster.
That's a really good point. New Hampshire, being the wonderful state that it is, our clerk's office can print a birth certificate for any town in this state. We can't print them for Massachusetts or Vermont or any of the other states, but so people don't have to go to that physical location if they were born in New Hampshire. But yes, that's a very good idea. That's probably the easiest and simplest way to get that. There is a cost, but it's an important thing to have.
I think there's also a federal website where you can get connected to your, like, say you came from Minnesota or something like that. They'll connect you with the right office for you to get your thing. But I'm just saying, do it sooner.
Yes.
If you haven't responded to that letter that went out earlier in the summer, then respond now.
Yes, for sure. Very good.
Any other questions for the, all right. May I ask you to repeat one thing for the folks at home watching?
Yes.
The absentee ballot process can begin right now.
Yes.
The ballots are not ready, but they can start the process now, and that can be done online or in person?
That's correct.
And what form of ID would they need if they're coming in?
So it's gotten a little bit more complicated. Let's see. For absentee ballots, you need to be able, let's see, I want to make sure I have it correct.
You need a photo ID or
You need a
have it.
photo ID.
To driver's
And you need to
license?
make a copy of that to go with the application. That's a bit of a change. So obviously, our clerk's office has all the records. So if they get a letter from someone, they match it up with their voter list and say, yes, Kate Miller's registered. Now what's required is, in addition to the application, you have to either have a photo ID. You can show your photo ID in the clerk's office if you request in person, or you can have the application notarized,
Okay.
which is sometimes a bit of a nuisance. I think our clerk's office can do that. Some other offices can do that. If you come into the clerk's office, you can show them your ID. So you don't need to get it
Yeah,
notarized,
yeah.
but banks and things like that. So yes, thank you for pointing that out. There is that additional step with the request for the absentee ballot that you include a copy of your ID.
So for those that are able, it's easiest for everybody for them to come into the clerk's office.
I think it's always easiest. Our clerks are really nice.
Indeed, they are.
There was an affidavit, I believe.
Yes.
Could you talk about
So
the
that's back on.
affidavit, please? Thank you.
There was a law passed a few years ago, and Selectman Gilman may know this better than I do, that allowed folks who did not have all their proofs there but were otherwise eligible to be able to vote, to do so with an affidavit essentially attesting to the fact that they were all the things that they needed to be, that they lived in Exeter, that they were a citizen, and they were 18 years of age. That was changed by, I can't remember exactly the way that it was changed in recent memory, but the change has been reversed by a federal court.
Prove that you
So-
had a personal relationship with a
Right.
neighbor or something.
Right. So if...
Courts have reversed it, it's back on.
Correct. So it's back on. So if someone is eligible, shows up at the polling place, they're missing the documentation, they can vote with this, what's called a provisional ballot. We take a picture of them. The ballot is identified and numbered, and the only person who knows the numbering is the moderator. And then folks have to then follow up and send in their documentation to the Secretary of State's office, who then matches it up. And if that doesn't happen, then the moderator is supposed to remove that ballot from the tally and correct the tally. So it's a very elaborate process, but that is back in place. So if people come to the polling place without all the pieces of identification and they don't happen to know the moderator or one of the supervisors of the checklist or the clerk who can attest to their identity, then they can do that. They can vote by affidavit. That's correct.
Voting officials like the select board can also be, sign off on those, can't they?
I don't believe you can attest to identity. But between Jen and me, we know a lot of people. And Vicky, oh my God,
Yeah,
yes.
She knows everyone.
This is true. So, yeah, you're likely to know somebody.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question, but it's really not for Attorney Miller. It's for Steve Cronin. If I could, because of the neighborhood meeting and the construction that's going to happen, how soon do we put our reminder voting signs out? Is it usually a couple of weeks?
I think it's a week.
We usually try to do it a week ahead of the election.
Okay, well, could we consider maybe doing it a little earlier? One, because it's a holiday weekend before we vote, and two, with the construction, we wouldn't really have one there.
We usually do, yes.
Right, but with the construction, I'm just thinking on the offset, we can't put one up there. Can we just think of another place in town?
Yeah, we can look into that.
Yes.
Put it right in Gale Park instead of on the sidewalk.
Julie says Gale Park, right in the park.
We could do that too.
Okay.
Yeah, that might work.
So thank you, sorry.
Good
Just
thinking.
want to get word out, reminders out as much as possible.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good, good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I'll leave these with Ms. Martell. Extra
Okay.
handouts.
Thank you. Okay, now we have our Economic Development Director, Darren Wyndham, here to talk about the New Hampshire Exeter train station Charrette on August 7th or 8th. Mr. Wyndham, good evening.
Thank you and good evening. Do you mind if I speak about the CBE just 1 second, the community business engagement? I was here for the last time.
If you could do it slowly with no acronyms.
Okay, you got it. You got it. So that was a lot of really good information. That the 57 pages that is the report is in your packet now. It wasn't last time. That was a mix up between UNH and me. And so, but I'm willing to send both of those, what we presented, along with the actual report to you guys if you want, because then you have them in just a file.
Electronically?
Electronically, yeah.
Sure.
And then I'm going to put it on the website so the public can see both of those side by each. Then I was going to actually ask if there's a couple of action items I was going to see if we could do, but then Paul recalibrated me and said, wait till after the charrette, because maybe something comes out of the charrette that would be appropriate for that. So it'll be a few weeks, but I'll come back and work with Paul and Melissa and Dave, and I'll have something for you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, charrette it is. Right in front of you guys, you have sort of the marketing material. I will let you know that John Ring and Bob and Don are all canvassing the neighborhood.
All members of the train committee for the folks at home.
Yep, exactly. And so should I describe what a charrette is for those who don't know what it is? Okay, so
Please.
on August 7th and August 8th, one slow, August 7th and August 8th, Friday, August 7th, Saturday, August 8th, you're going to have a team of volunteers from Plan, New Hampshire, architects, engineers, economic developers, 17 of them, and they're going to meet at Lincoln Street School, and they're going to spend Saturday getting to know the area. They're going to walk where the map is and all the businesses and the property owners. They're coming in mostly having not seen the materials. Most of the people on the Charrette teams don't like to look at the materials ahead of time because they want to have just fresh eyes. And so that will be happening on Friday. There is 2 listening sessions. There are public working sessions. So people are thinking that when they're coming in, this is at Lincoln Street School, and that's from, I don't want to get it wrong, 3 to 4:30, and from 6 to 7:30 p.m. But those aren't like something where everybody's talking, it's just a huge assembled thing. It's not that. It's like 15 or so, 10 to 15 tables. So when you come in there, you're going to sit at a table, and you're going to have a topic, and you're going to work through it with your group, and at the end of that, it's going to be shared with everybody in the room. And so people welcome to come to both. We're trying to get as many people as we possibly can. We put these things all over town. We're talking to people that are riding the train, and we want people to understand it's not just about the train station. It's also about Lincoln Street. Mm-hmm. So you have most of the businesses are going to come, and most of the property owners are going to come. I've spoken to them personally. And so that's going to be a big deal. So if people can make it to that, they really want your input because they're going to put a product out. They're spending all of Saturday morning putting together a product. They start at 8 a.m. and they get done at 3 p.m. And that's no input from anybody, just the Charrette team with all the information they've gotten from the public.
Okay.
Then they present a product which won't be officially done for a few months because the report will get put together, but they'll have a really excellent public session with what they think they may do. I've been on 2 of these before on these teams, and it is a lot of work and a lot of fun. Probably one of the most fun things I've ever done. And so I'm really excited about this, and everybody I've talked to that has a stake in it is going to be there.
Great. So for people at home, just to recap, August 7th,
Friday.
at Lincoln Street School, Friday, August 7th, from 3 to 4:30, and also from 6 to 7:30, and then come back at 3 p.m. on Saturday to see what they've spent, would you say, 8 hours setting up?
Oh, more than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
Great.
I'd say probably 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those Friday sessions are public input sessions?
They are. Yeah. The 2 that Nico just talked about.
Yep.
They are. And I mean, we're putting them up in hotel rooms for people who drive too far.
Yep.
It's cost $6,500 to do it. I was able to get us a housing opportunity planning grant, HOP grant, and then also a $2,000 scholarship to help with the meals and everything. We have to provide 4 meals. And then what I have in my budget will take care of the rest of that, other than that $2,000. So,
Well, thank you for finding those grants.
yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
So once again, it's Friday, August 7th, Lincoln Street School, 3 to 4:30 is the first public session, and the second session is 6 to 7:30 p.m., and then back on Saturday at 3 p.m.
Is it okay if I mention this too?
Yeah, can I
Just a question from
sorry.
Selectwoman.
I just want to, for the logistics, Lincoln Street School, do you know where in the school?
Yes. So for the public, you'll be coming in the back. There'll be signs, there'll be greeters. But you're coming in the back, and you're going to be in the gym. It's a great space.
Parking?
Plenty of parking, and I will say the Lincoln Street School folks have been wonderful to work with.
Great.
They're just wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people knew
Absolutely.
kind of where they were going, and I'm glad the people the train riders are also being
Yep.
encouraged to come and.
Yeah, Bob went there one day with a microphone and was talking to him. It was great.
Yeah, that's great, because I think it's important. They're
They're
the ones that do it, use it all the time, and know what amenities could help, parking and enclosure.
The third largest ridership on the Down East line besides Boston and Portsmouth and, of course, Brunswick. But I said Portsmouth, I meant Portland, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Thank you.
Good question.
Anything else?
Anything else for Mr. Wyndham on the charrette?
I will see you at the Charrette.
Excellent.
All right, go again.
Can I mention this, or do you want to do it, Dan?
I already have.
Oh, you already have? Oh,
We started
wonderful.
early.
Oh, sorry, you guys. Perfect. Thank you for doing that.
Darren, thank you for mentioning that report that we did not get because of the inadvertent communication. I would love to see that. So
Yeah, I can't wait for your input, all you guys.
So it's in our packet, but you're going to send it electronically
I'm going to
to
send
the
it
board.
electronically so you have
And
it
it's going to go on the
separately.
website.
I don't think it made the packet.
It's in the packet.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
But we're going to get it electronically, and he's going to put it on the website.
Sure.
For everybody to see.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we have our project manager for the police and fire substation, Paul Velasquez, here to give an update. And I'm just going to wish you a happy birthday because
Oh, happy
you've
birthday.
been sitting here and spending your birthday with us, and we're appreciative of that.
Well, thank you. This is going to be a real short update on the police station's public safety complex. But it's all good news, and we're happy to report that. So our construction manager, we have a project with them for about $15.7 million. There's fluctuations in the bottom line. And as of the end of last month, we were 42% financially complete with the project. With any project, there's changes, clarifications, substitutions, preferences. It all gets mixed up. Throughout this project, any of those issues that came up were all manageable. The construction project progress is going smoothly. And to me, it suggests that the teams that worked on this project, paring it down to financially feasible but still important and got the components that it needed to, did a wonderful job early on because we had a guaranteed maximum price before we had 100% drawings too. So that to me was a little scary, but as I'm in this project, it shows what type of communication was going on leading up to construction. Early on with construction, we withheld approval to construct certain components of the project. One was the canopy out back with the employee parking. There's 20 stalls that has a canopy, and then there's solar arrays on top of there. That was held back until we got further into the project to see how we were progressing financially. There was an emergency driveway exit out onto Gillian Lane, too, that was withheld. And parking in the front was condensed also, and for a future activity designed for the future, but not given the approval to be constructed. But as we stand here now talking about the project, we are able to roll those items back into the project for construction. So those are underway, and we're still within the budget for the project.
Wow.
What we are exploring at the moment was a scope of services for commissioning of the HVAC, the lighting controls, and security also. And what commissioning means is that it's functioning the way it was designed and intended. So there's an activity of that to put a scope together for that. We're also working on some landscaping chances. It's very limited of where we could do landscaping on the project, but we're going to explore in those small, limited spaces what we can do. Now I'd like to talk about the schedule a little bit. So currently, if you go down to the site, there would be the drywall being installed on both floors in most of the rooms. They are roughing in the mechanical, plumbing, electrical, and fire protection up above the ceiling area. On the second floor, they're also starting to install the lattice and grid work for the lights to be installed. and the exterior windows are being installed on the exterior of the building. Now, tomorrow, base paving ought to start with, assuming the weather is good, Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be doing base paving. That does not include that area that we just now gave approval for additional parking out front. That'll come later, but base paving in the next couple of days. After the base paving done for the site work, you'll have the curb and sidewalk, walkways, and some light poles being installed. By about mid-August, that canopy that I told you that was on hold it's already given approval for it, but you'll start seeing some of the structural members being put up for that. In the fall, the solar panels and siding will appear. And we are estimating that in early 2027, we'd be substantially complete with the project, which is moving up from the earlier schedule too. And that concludes my report.
Well, that's fantastic news. Any questions for Mr. Vlasic?
I'm just going to say, I'm really glad some of that parking was able to be put back in, because I was a little concerned about the limited parking in the front. So to have that added back in is great. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Chartrette.
So the canopy with the solar allows the building to meet the net zero that the voters asked for?
That's correct.
Great. Terrific. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now go and enjoy your day, the rest of your day.
So we'd like to invite Chief McCain back up to talk about the police and fire substation furnishings and contract request he has. Cheers, Paul.
Thank you.
I do that every time. All right. Well, following on what Paul just briefed you on, I mean, we're completely happy with how the building's going. I walk through it a lot, and it's going well. With that being said, he kind of laid the foundation for me, saying how, there was a lot of work that's gone into it in the last year and a half. And I'm here to talk to you tonight about my little piece of the puzzle with it, roughly since last April. And that's we're going to have this brand new building. We're going to have furniture to put in it. I was tasked with kind of researching different companies. We found one, I'm happy to say, that I was nudged towards, that's on the state bid, so it makes it easy. So they're going to give us the best prices for it. WB Mason. I'm appearing before you tonight after all my labor of love for the last year and a half of whittling down how many filing cabinets, what color they're going to be, what type of desks we're getting, how many chairs are in my training room, upwards. I was just trying to count how many rooms are actually in this new facility, and you guys called me up, so I can't tell you, but there's a lot of rooms. Everything needs furniture. And at the beginning of this, I would have loved, Melissa gave me a budget to stay within. A very hard guideline, and I'm happy to report that I am well under budget with the proposal that I have in front of you today. I can't say enough about the company they've helped us out. They've been doing it a long time. They're going to come in if we decide to go with them. Hopefully, after my recommendation, we'll decide to use them. But they come in and they install everything. They're the ones putting everything together. They're moving it all around. So it really takes a lot of the legwork out of it. We already told you it's been over a year and a half. WB Mason, I've been working with one rep. I've got an itemized list. I can tell you every bolt, everything is there, but the grand total to outfit the police department, as well as the fire department section as well, with all their rooms, is $218,662. And that includes shipment, delivery, and installation of everything. And again, like I said, I was pretty surprised, but that's about $30,000 below what I was told to keep it under. So I'm happy to report that we were able to afford that with the money that was earmarked for this previously.
Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions. I got itemized list. I'll tell you everything. I
We
want
have it
to
in our
mention one
packet,
thing, and that's the the fire chief and myself. We've applied for a grant that may offset some chunk of our the money for the training room, because it is going to be an emergency operations center, and there is federal grants. So we have applied, I shouldn't say we, our fire chief has filled out the paperwork with me helping him out, and we are waiting to hear back, but that will substantially take some money off that, to the tune of $30,000 to $40,000 off that, what I just told you that I'm asking for. So when that comes in, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's even cheaper than what I asked, what I'm asking authorization for. And just so everybody's well informed, they told me 6 to 8 week lead time. So again, we got on this very early, and it's better. So now we're not playing catch up. So we're well within the time of properly ordering it and make sure it all shows up at the time when, one, the building's ready to receive it, and two, we're not waiting on it to move into for it as well. So I don't want to pressure you, but I wanted to get that number out in front of you, because I like, if there's one more thing off my plate, and we can move on to other stuff that we have to order.
Any questions for Chief McKinney?
In my day job, I deal with W.B. Mason. They've for years, and they're really great. So I was glad to see that. Is this a contract that you would sign with them, so you could do it now, so no prices would change?
Yes, so they're going to update every 30 days. They'll refresh the quote for us, free, not free of charge, but they'll just do that. So we always will have the current one. That way, when we're able to strike on it, we'll have a valid quote, and they'll do that for us.
Okay. So the cost right now could change a little bit.
It could change.
Okay.
However, I do think we need to wait to see if the grant comes in, which is hopefully going to be at any time.
Well, that was my next question, was what was the time frame? Okay.
All the paperwork's been filed. We submitted it, and we're very hopeful that it comes back, and we're a strong candidate for it.
Great. Good luck.
Thank you. Mr. Chartrand?
The money for this obviously comes out of the bond. It's part of the project. Thank you.
Yeah, from day one, the money's been allotted. One of the first meetings we sat with is we developed a workable budget for this project, and from day one of all of us sitting in this room, it's like we had to earmark a certain amount. I've argued with Melissa that it was bigger, but I still hit underneath the mark that she told me.
Sounds like you two are a good team.
Yeah.
The whole team is a good team. I'd like to just say thank between Paul and Corey and actually Paul Cohen coming on. It's been a really great process. That's, knock on wood, we're not done yet.
Yeah, we're at the fun part of it now.
But, yeah,
I mean, I'm literally picking out paint colors and light switches now, so.
Labor of love, I think.
I like it.
Chief, I have a question and then a comment. So are you looking tonight for the board to approve granting the procurement contract to W. Mason, or are you also looking for us to approve the amount of $218,662?
I was originally looking for to approve the amount.
Okay. So you want the amount approved this evening? Okay. And then, Mr. Cohen, I would imagine you're going to sign any appropriate documents? Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. To what Melissa said, and she jumped in, but I've had the pleasure of jumping into some of your team meetings since the beginning, and the team has been incredible. Working with the parameters set by the warrant article and what the voters wanted. And the voters were very generous to approve this project, and you've all worked very carefully to make sure that we achieve that. The board was invited to a sort of a soft groundbreaking several months ago, and I know that you gave a tour. And I just want to let folks know that the team has done a great job, but you've had a vision since day one, and walking us through, a shell of a building and your vision. I mean, it just you could imagine, and what this is going to look like and just what your vision is, and it was just really exciting. So I want to thank you for the work.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, when I said it was a labor of love, it really is. I mean, it's going to be something special, and we're less than 6 months out from all of us taking another tour, and I'll be really able to take you around the building then.
We're going to look forward to that.
But it's completely different than what even you guys saw, and that was pretty far along when you guys all walked through it. Now it's, I mean, you can really see it taking shape. It has a feel. It has its own sense of identity now when you're walking through the halls. So it's almost there, and we're getting there, and it's going to be something that this town's going to be proud of.
Yeah. And we're incredibly grateful to the legislative body for passing this. Again, thank you for everything you've done. So, cool. If there are no other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to award the procurement of furniture, fixtures, and equipment to WB Mason for an amount not to exceed $218,662, and to further authorize the town manager or their designee to sign all appropriate paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's unanimous. And for those at home, there is a detailed list in our packet that you can take a look and see where the money's going to. So thank you. While you're there, because I was going to do this later tonight, but you're going to do it better.
Right.
Let's promote National Night Out next Tuesday, August 4th from 4 to 7.
Yeah, it's 4 to 7. It's going to be over here on Townhouse Commons. I can't say enough about how much work that goes into it from our community resource officer, Bruce Page. Really fun night for the community. I'm blown away. Like I always say, I was a transplant coming over here, and not to say anything bad about how other places do it, but I really, really enjoy to see the community interaction that we have, bringing it all in one spot, bringing the food trucks in, bringing the stuff for the little kids in, and it really feels, exactly what Exeter should be about, and that has that feel of what we're striving for. So 4 to 7, August 4th. We look forward to see everyone there. There'll be a dunk tank. There's this, every year Detective Page tries to add one or two more things to this to make it better for the family. So it's a fun time. It's one of my favorite 3 hours of the year to come out and talk to people. So we're looking forward to it. Fingers crossed, we're going to have good weather for it, and it'll be great.
Well, it's been well attended the last couple of years, and Townhouse Common really is a sweet spot
Perfect spot.
for this. It's so perfect, and Detective Page does such a great job. I would ask that he would also look for, maybe for the sake of my body temperature, 1 or 2 extra people for the dunk tank.
I think he has a couple extras.
2 hours last year was a lot. So
I think Josh just said he was volunteering. Did you hear him?
Can't. I have to be out here talking. I'll volunteer to throw at it.
I promised Detective Page I will be there. I will be missing Mrs. Poulin this year because she was great at
she really kept
making sure that everybody came under control. And when I started
hopefully,
turning,
maybe I'll ask to see if she'll come back. I don't know if Stefan will, but she might.
We don't need him. We'll just have her come back. Thanks.
So cool.
Appreciate it. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Josh.
Appreciate
Thanks, Josh. Have a good night.
You too.
Mr. Stevens, we got a budget update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you. It's nice to come in on a night when there's like a slew of good news before you show it. So I love those.
Keep the beat going.
Keep it going.
Keep the beat going.
Well, so, I mean, a lot of the numbers that we speak about here are or the results we have are the results of the work that gets done, whether it be a public safety complex or, departments with their budgets. It's the good work and the diligence that, they pursue day in and day out that make us successful. So I'm just get to report the good news. So I'm here this evening to give you a more brief update on where we are at mid-year 2026. I was with you guys about a month ago and going over the 12/31/2025 results at length, so I thought I would try to shorten up this review here and, kind of give an overview of where things are, hit some of the highlights, and really remind people what our operations are like and why some of the numbers are what they are. And please, stop me along the way with any questions, and I can entertain questions at the end as well. So I thought I'd start with a couple of highlights as we are just finishing up our 2025 audit. We got our single audit wrapped up last week, and we've gotten journal entries and had our sort of high-level discussions with the auditors on the results, and we are very pleased. Very few journal entries that Laura and I need to make. Always a good sign of how things are going internally for us. We will end the general fund 2025 with an unassigned fund balance of just about $6.6 million, which is an increase of $590,000 over the prior year. I'll also bring up something that's on the agenda a little bit later, but it was one of my highlights. Last week, we received our refundable clean energy credit related to the solar array. If you remember when Dave Sharples brought this project, or I think it was midstream of the project as we were working through it, that the federal government was giving a refundable credit to municipalities who were installing clean energy projects, and our refundable was $1.35 million. We had a firm out of the North Country, Co-Os Advisors, help us put together the tax return 990T to apply for that credit back in May. And last week we got the check in the mail. So that is great news that that money plays into the pro forma for the project in terms of repaying our debt service. So now we have essentially what amounts to 3 sources of revenue to pay back the loan and then to generate revenue going forward. We have net metering credits on our energy bill. We sell renewable energy credits out in the market. And now we have this $1.35 million that I will employ against debt after I see how the other 2 sources of revenue work out for the year. My intention is to deposit the money with New Hampshire Deposit Investment Pool, the PDIP, and touch it as little as possible and try to generate some revenue off of it. So we'll see how that goes. We're excited about that, though. So that's kind of what's been going on the first 6 months of the year. Jumping into the general fund results through 6/30, starting with revenue. In May, the tax department invoiced a total of $34.5 million in property tax bills. Of that, about 24% or $8.2 million is allocated to the town, and the lion's share is for the schools and the county. As of July 15th, we had collected 96% of that revenue, with $1.5 million still outstanding. A very stable and consistent result with prior years. Looking at some of our other sources of revenue besides property taxes, ones that stand out for me through the first 6 months, are building permits and fees. We are obviously, as you can see from the financial, below where we were at June 30th of last year, but we are 82% of what I projected for the budget, so that bodes well for what the year is going to look like overall. Hopefully we'll collect more than the $350,000 that I had estimated in my budget, or our budget. Meals and rooms tax, we haven't collected anything yet. The state remits our portion of that at the end of the year, so we'll see that in December. The other bright spot in our revenue sources is our interest income. We are 77% of budget, $464,000 as of mid-year. We've had good luck with TD Bank and the interest rate environment right now as well. So we anticipate hopefully going beyond the $600,000 that we have budgeted for the year. And what that means at the end of the day is every budget that we surpass helps us in keeping that tax rate low as we go into tax rate setting season. The final line I mentioned in revenues is our transfers in, $300,000 budgeted and only $4,300 so far. That $300,000 is the solar array revenue, and it's the revenue, the renewable energy credits and the net metering fees that we hope to collect. So far this year, we've collected $127,000 through June 30th of that $300,000. We are trending slightly below, 50% at this point. You might recall in the early part of the year, we had some repairs and maintenance that we had to conduct on some of the gear out there, all under warranty, but we had to we lost a little bit of production there for about 45 to 60 days. So I anticipate that'll, hopefully we'll regain and get over the 300,000, but looking like it may come in right around there. So as of June 30th, our miscellaneous revenues, we collected 39% of budget compared to 37% in the prior year. Moving into our general fund expenses, if you just look at the percentage year-over-year story, it's remarkable how sort of consistent our years are in our spending. We've spent 43% of the overall $27 million budget at 6/30, same as last year. Looking at some bigger categories, if you look at our labor costs, labor of that $27 million budget, labor is just under $18 million for the year. That will be our total cost. As of June 30th, we've spent about $7.7 million, or 43% of the budget. That equates to about $600,000 under budget through 6/30. Some notable reasons for that are, vacancies we had during the first 6 months and some of the staff turnover. Town manager, we filled the role in May, so during that hiring process, we obviously didn't have a salary there. Our planning department returned to full staff in late March. And Public Works continues to have open positions through the first 6 months in maintenance and highway divisions, as well as 2 engineering positions. One notable overage in the first 6 months is our snow and ice budget. I mentioned last month that 25 was a challenging year. Well, the first 6 months of 26 have also been challenging. We've spent $466,000 fighting storms on a $290,000 budget. Labor challenges, the need to employ outside contractors, and the frequency of storms in the first 3 months kind of led to these results. As you all know, we have a snow and ice deficit fund with $268,000 in it presently, and I would anticipate coming before you a little bit later in the year and requesting that we draw upon that from the trustees. Skipping down and looking at our debt service, obviously we've only spent 20% so far. We just sent out the bulk of our bond payments in July. They're due in August, so that will correct itself here as we go into the latter part of the summer. Notably, 2026 will be the first year payment on the public safety complex, which is why you see the budget going from $1.9 million for debt service last year to $3.56 this year. And as I say, operating expenses overall, $11.7 million, 43% spent so far, right in line with results from last year. So moving on into the 2 enterprise funds, water and sewer. Similar story, although I think some of the percentages in the actual production departments for water are a bit beyond where they were last year, mid-year. Water fund revenue collected was 50% as of mid-year, same as last year. We'd expect that considering we haven't raised rates in 2 years and people don't use much less water year over year, so not a shock there. I'll remind everyone that last month we had the conversation and approved some rate increases both on the consumptions and on the meters, which will take effect with the October billing. So we will see an uptick in revenue. We'll see the revenue from last year and this year separate as we go into the latter part of the year. Looking at the expense side of the water funds, labor costs, they're generally in line with what we would expect as of the first 6 months of the year. It's not to say we didn't have vacant positions in water. We are offsetting some of those costs with part-time help that is continuing to work for us, so there's an offset there. I anticipate I calculate that in the first 6 months, we probably saved somewhere around $70,000 to $90,000 in labor and benefits and retirement costs in the water fund. Our general expenses, the non-labor operating costs in distribution and treatment were generally in line. Some timing differences in terms of when purchases were made, supplies were purchased. So that's why we see a fluctuation year over year. Same with general fund, our debt service payments are made in the latter part of the year for the water enterprise fund as well. Capital outlay, we've only spent 28% of the water fund budget there. One of the larger projects that was budgeted within that $200,000 was the replacement of a water main pipe under the bridge on Kingston Road. The project has not occurred yet. So end results, net income for the water enterprise fund at June 30th is $236,000. And finally, going into the sewer fund. Similar story, they do share a lot of the same labor. Our revenues are consistent year over year. You might ask why, if water has collected 50%, why sewer's only collected 44%. As you know, in the sewer fund, we have that SAG grant for $1 million, which is part of the revenue number. We don't get that revenue until the end of the year. So that's 12% of the budget. A little bit of good news we got a couple weeks ago was we got a letter from the state suggesting that their commitments to SAGs that have been, state aid grants that have been previously awarded will continue during the life of those projects. So
Good.
We have reason to believe that while I was sounding an alarm when we were talking water sewer rates, that perhaps we will continue to see that up to the total $18 million over the life of the water, the sewer
Fingers crossed
bond.
on that.
Yeah, but we will at
Yeah.
least see it this year, and we'll look forward to seeing it.
Continue.
Yeah.
They're important.
Right. Debt service sticks out, remarkably with the sewer fund, since we make a $3.3 million payment on the water treatment plant in December. So it's like 40% of the budget, so not surprising to see that spending low at this point. Net income for the first 6 months, $1.2 million, but again, our rates are structured so that we're collecting through the year and we're ready to make that big payment as we end the year. And that is my report.
Terrific.
I promise
Any
it would be brief.
questions for Mr. Stevens?
If I could just, the
Please.
solar array. Yes, we're not quite on where we were hoping to be, but I think this is a good report on that. Considering we were down that time and at 127,000, I was happy to see that.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of looking. I want to connect with Dave because he was part of the original, or he received the original pro formas from revision. But now that we have a little bit more intel and we know what the number is on the grant, or the refundable tax credit, sorry, I want to relook at what that kind of looks like. Really would like to preserve that money as long as we can and make a little money off of it, so that in the long term we can maintain the solar array and continue to have it be successful for us. And it looks like that'll be the case. So yeah, it seems like a success story.
Thank you. Mr. Chartrand.
Corey, this check that we just got from the U.S. Treasury. Was this listed on, remember when you put together a list of federal grants that we that we had outstanding?
Yeah,
was this on there?
I believe so. But
so that's one big one that we had a question about that's no longer a
yeah,
question.
I would have to go back and look, but I would be surprised if I didn't list it as a TBD.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
believe it was, yeah.
Thank you for that good news.
Do we have any more outstanding on that list?
Oh.
If you, it's okay, just at
Yes.
some point.
Yes.
We can get an update.
So TAP grant through planning.
Yep, Planning Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
It's a transportation alternative program.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for it to be signed at Governor and Council, which we're actually hoping in the next month or so.
So that's a state.
Yeah. And I don't think we have any others. I mean, we had some that we didn't get, the
think this-
EV
this
charging
was the
stations we didn't get.
This was the big
yeah,
one,
that
the
was-
solar array.
Yeah, I was surprised how quickly it came through. Actually, my team, I came back from a meeting and they were like, look what we got, you know, thinking it might have
Take a
been
picture.
fraudulent, right? Because we talk all the time about things that are going to get us. And they're like, look, we think it's fraudulent. I'm like, I actually think that's the real deal, guys.
Hey, at least you're thinking about it, and you never know, right? But
Yeah, no,
with
it's
what's
great.
coming up in
It
our
was perfect.
packet, and the potential news on federal grants, I'm glad we
Right.
have the money in the bank, cash the check.
Yeah, I would say a deal's a deal, and I appreciate the federal government living up to their part of the deal.
Deal's a deal, right?
For now, yeah, that's the problem
My
we
appreciation.
might have. But yes, anyway, good, thank you.
Thank you for this
thank you.
report. This will go into our packet. I know this was a late,
It was added as a supplemental to the
perfect.
website.
Yep,
as
okay,
well.
there.
perfect,
Yep.
thank you. And you touched the solar array, so you're off the hook for the next, unless you had something else you wanted to,
No, that was it.
okay, all right. Well, we won't keep you. Thank you. So, Mr. Cohen, I guess the good news stops with you.
That's why you had me do my report at the beginning. Yeah, just a couple items since the last meeting. With the legislative session, complete, essentially, the governor has sifted her way through a number of bills that have been sent to her desk, and she has signed, I think, 34 in the last several weeks. And probably the most notable are the ones I put in the packet this evening. And I thought the most effective way, rather than just giving you the text of the law and trying to figure out, well, what does this mean, everything, were the two news accounts that I provided for you. And the first one, and most significant one, and I'm going to be very guarded because I don't want to get into electioneering, because I don't want to pay a $1,000 fine, which was another law that the governor signed. But
If you get hit with that, I'll go have these with you.
thank you.
Yeah,
But
me too.
but the most significant one, and it's been reported last week in the media, is the new law that puts a ballot question on the November ballots for this November and in 2028 regarding a cap on school district spending. It's officially known as House Bill 1300. And it requires a 3/5 supermajority for a cap to be put in place. And what that means is it's 60% of the voters in the district, not of the SAU. So it's not, meaning member towns. So it's not as though 60% of the towns of a district, it's 60% of all the voters in the district. If that's approved, then it becomes effective across all of the towns in the district, not each town individually. And so again, it's required to be adjusting the cap on expenditures to be tied to the inflation index. And the Northeast Consumer Price Index most recently was 4.3% for the last calendar year. It also allows a provision for what would be called new taxable property growth, or new growth in the assessed value in the community that doesn't account for revaluations and so forth. It's meant to be like new construction or additions that are put on. The law also requires that there's a cap of 6% of the school board's budget to be tied to administrative expenses. And The law defines administrative costs as general management functions, superintendent salaries, human relations, district-level IT, payroll, legal services, and public relations. It clarifies that administrative costs do not include expenses related to classroom instruction, school-based administrative staff like principals, special education services, food services, transportation, or facility maintenance. The other thing that was noted in the law is that there's no provision that if the law were to be adopted, that it could be repealed in a subsequent vote. There's nothing in the law that would allow that. So it appears that if it's approved, then it governs for that 2-year period, and then it regardless of whether it's passed or not in 2026, it has to go on the ballot again in 2028. So that's sort of the summary of where that's at. And again, you'll be signing an election warrant real soon that will have this question on there, and again, it'll go before the voters this November, and then again in 2 years, and so that's now in effect for the community and across the state.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yeah.
speak to this?
Yes, like Julie knows closer to it than I was.
I do not swear, but there are every 4-letter word in the vocabulary of the world applies to this bill, including the process it went through. It was shameful. HB 1300 started out as something totally different, and after when the Senate got it, they amended the bill with a replace all amendment. So the original bill was gone, and this was put in place. No public input, just get the House to sign off on it, and as an amendment committee of conference, they said, okay, they wanted to do it permanently, and we got them to at least just do it for 2 years. This is done, the proponents are frustrated in their own towns that their proposed tax caps, which towns can already do, we can already propose, do we want to have a tax cap or a budget cap? They're frustrated that it never passes in their own towns. So now they're making the question be put on a federal ballot in front of everyone's faces because they can't get enough people to their deliberative sessions to get their thing on the ballot. And it's a manipulation that drives me crazy. So it's a partisan thing, all I'm saying. When you come to the booth, make a decision.
It's because more people come to the November elections than they do in the March.
Yep, and, you know.
Capture more people.
How much information do people pay attention to this one? So, sorry, had to vent.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'll now move on to housing laws that were adopted. The story, second story I put in your packet is dated June 8th, but it's now signed into law, but it was the best account that I could have of these 3 bills that are now law. And it's House Bill 1010, House Bill 1588, and Senate Bill 564. House Bill 1010 and House Bill 1588 were tied together as an update to the statute that was adopted a year ago that became effective this past July 1 regarding allowance for housing by right in commercial zones. Basically, that requires that any multifamily residential developments can occur on commercially zoned land as long as there's adequate roads, water, and sewerage, and no issues with the site incompatible with residential use, such as air, noise, odor, or transportation impacts. 1588 tightens the law, and that basically said that the by right meant that the only development restriction that a community could put on it were these frontage setbacks and height requirements that were standard for the commercial development. So in other words, they were basically saying you have to approve this, and that if a developer were denied for being permit improperly, then the developer could seek attorney fees from the town. House Bill 1010 sort of was the other side of the equation that gave municipalities the potential to limit the development to carry out studies to determine whether there's adequate water, sewerage, and traffic infrastructure for approval. So So that's now in effect, for the land use boards if this type of developments come in. What Senate Bill 564 did, this was the dead-end roads restriction. That's now out the window, that a community can impose a maximum road length for a dead-end road as long as there's no violation of the state fire code or the number of houses on a dead-end road. So again, unless it's violating the National Fire Protection Association standards or the state fire code, you're required to allow any maximum length of a dead-end roadway. It also requires the town to allow utilities such as septic systems and electric distribution infrastructure to be installed in buffer areas, open spaces, as long as they aren't wetlands or protected shorelands. So again, it's part of this push for housing. And so I know there's a lot of concerns expressed in the community or in community social media and so forth about, well, why are do the land use boards approve these type of projects? I think it helps to again point out that many of these decisions are guided or in cases directed by state law. And in terms of the concerns of locals sort of taken away by the state actions. So I just wanted to formally provide that update because we know these concerns have been expressed and will be expressed in the weeks and months and probably years to come. So that's all I have on the law thing. It then now pivots to the 2027-28 legislative session that starting in January, a new session will be seated in Concord. As Julie informed me, that incumbents will all be filing bills in September for new legislation for the upcoming year. And the New Hampshire Municipal Association will be sort of bringing forth its proposals on behalf of the member communities at its policy conference on September 11th. And why I bring this to you this evening is they're seeking, obviously, the community's participation in that. And then in the next, perhaps as soon before your next meeting, we'll be receiving registration requests for the community, as well as any proposals that they may have. And the question comes down to two things. And again, don't have to be acted upon this evening, would be by that date, the board's position on the legislative platform, as well as who will serve as the community's voting one delegate at the conference. Each community has one voting delegate, and if the board fails a designated voting delegate, then it goes, as you would expect, by the governing body, would be the chair of the select board, and then down to the manager if that's not needed. So that's what I bring to you this evening is that we're approaching the point of looking into the next legislative session, and believe it or not, the conference is like about 7 weeks away in September.
In the past, we delegated the voting rights or voting options for the town to the town manager.
I'm willing to do it, but I don't have to do it, meaning if the member of the board or the chair or another member of the board wishes to do it, I would probably still go to the conference, but I mean, I'm perfectly comfortable not being the town's voting delegate. Clearly the intent by the Municipal Association is, the hierarchy, a governing board, and then in the absence of that, then be the manager.
I mean, I'm open to conversation, but I think the town manager has historically represented Exeter, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm also comfortable going if that's what the board's desire is. Or if anybody else from the board wants to be.
I couldn't.
Yeah, let me be clear. I'm good.
I don't. The ability, though. Do we have to make that decision tonight?
No, you don't have to make it tonight, but I would think you have to make it in August. And
no,
that's why I bring these things so you're not sort of put on the spot immediately.
Anyway, but I would trust both of you to represent us the way we would. But let's. Do you mind giving it a little?
Let's bring it back on August 10th. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right. And then I'm fine either way. I'm comfortable with the town manager, or if the board, somebody on the board wants to volunteer, or if you, I don't, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm comfortable with the town manager.
If you're comfortable with the town manager, then I don't need to delay. Sorry, just bear with us a moment.
Well, do you want to wait till August 10th?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll wait till August 10th.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, but I'm willing to designate either one of you.
Yeah, right, you're out.
I'm up.
You're out.
I'm out.
I'm out, I'm
You're out?
already up there.
You're already up there, we don't want to
I mean,
lose.
I desperately want to go, but I also do not need to be the designee.
And I don't need to be the designee either. I mean,
Should we flip a coin?
No, it's been,
No.
I think the board, in my mind, the board has preference over me. I don't, like I said, I'll be there, but I don't feel I need to be the designee on behalf of the town.
No,
You were elected, not me.
I am nervous about what kind of policy they're going to
I am too.
to propose. I'm nervous about and I want you to be there to form relationship. I mean,
No, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And this is for 1 year only, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
for this conference.
So, have you ever done it? Have
No.
you?
But
I would like you both to go, so I
all
would
three
like
of us
as
would
many
say
of
no.
us, right? Molly too,
I
if she's got a
mean-
crazy work schedule, but she can get there, she can get there.
Well, I mean, this is like
I'll go
public
as a state
policy for the state
legislator.
of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Why don't you figure it out offline and come back to
Yeah.
us with a recommendation on August?
I like that.
Yes, I do too, thank you. I've been struggling over
For the sake of momentum here.
verbalize this, but yeah.
But either way, whatever, I'm fine.
Give us a recommendation.
August
you'd like us
10th,
to do.
Paul,
Yes.
the town manager, Mr. Cohen, will have a recommendation on August 10th. We'll talk offline.
Yeah,
There you go.
I would like you guys to talk about the
Okay.
logistics
Yeah,
and what, yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
Okay,
Moving on.
you're on a
moving on.
roll, so moving on.
And then the other one, which is from NHMA, which is sort of disappointing and kind of troubling, is the notification to the municipalities of the significant changes, proposed changes by the Office of Management and Budget in Washington on federal grants. And the troubling part is the proposed rule changes would permit federal agencies to terminate grant awards even after a project begins. Not only that, the federal government could retroactively change the grant requirements after the grant is awarded, tying projects to new and unexpected requirements midway through construction or even after completion during the financial drawdown. And then you'd also have to require any grants to comply with the current executive orders, regardless of when the grant was awarded and when the executive order was issued, or whether the executive order is being challenged in court. And you can imagine it makes it really uncomfortable. So they're seeking to have, again, in this case, the governing board contact our congressional delegation, encourage them to take action. And as you see, I put in there their draft letter, again, that just talks about how this is just untenable for how a community could proceed with a project and then have the rules and the funding changed midstream.
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
going back to what we were talking about earlier, a deal would no longer be a deal.
Right.
Right.
That's just,
Yeah,
Right.
that's I mean, at any point in time, anything could change,
Even though
so,
the project's finished.
Yeah.
till we get the money.
Until you get the final
We
drawdown
are
of
not
money.
guaranteed it,
Right.
so, that's very troubling.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do your budget based on
Right.
that
But-
criteria.
So again, I don't know if the
Properly.
board wants to send a letter and we can
Oh,
draft it, the
definitely.
chair sign it,
Yes.
That's the action.
yeah, no waffling.
And I'll be like
way this
Julie
way.
and not use, I can think 4 letter words, but I won't say them.
Do you need a motion on that?
We're
But
we're
yes.
drafting this to the NHMA, correct?
Yeah. Oh, to the delegation, yeah. We'll draft it to the delegation and copy NHMA on
The
it.
congressional.
Can we say,
Yeah,
what are you
yes.
thinking?
Do you want to make a motion?
I would make a motion that we send a letter to all 4 members of our congressional delegation protesting greatly this change to the federal grant rules.
Second,
So motion,
do we need somebody to sign it, or?
And I would further make the motion, add to the motion that I would like the chair to sign, chair of the select board to sign this.
Joanna, did you get that? Okay.
And I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Please.
Should we also send this to the governor or executive council because contracts from the federal government go through them?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, executive council.
We're always hearing from Janet Stevens.
Yes.
And they just.
I will withdraw my motion,
I'll withdraw my second.
and I'll add to the original motion, Joanna, that we should also send this to our executive counselor and our governor.
And I will second.
It's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? And seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Are you or Corey presenting this? The memo's from Corey, but it's...
Well, basically, as you can see, the memo from Corey, this is the recommittal warrants. As we explained at a prior meeting, when you had to vote to do the recommittal, the tax recommittal is required under statute. The audits have come in, have certified the balance of the uncollected tax balances, and therefore we need a formal vote by the board to recommit those to myself as the town's tax collector, and the draft language is provided by Corey there.
So we're going to have two motions here. Are there any questions first?
I have a comment. This feels like it has its roots in Sherwood Forest. Is this like old English law or something? We're personally committing you to the collection of the tax. All right, that's it. That's my comment.
Anybody else?
Viewer.
There are no other questions or comments. I would entertain a motion for the Select Board to approve the recommittal warrant for property taxes, having uncollected property taxes of $26,602,532.39 and unredeemed tax liens of $1,039,056.27 as of June 15th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. And then I would further entertain a motion for the Select Board to approve the recommittal warrant for Jeopardy taxes having uncollected taxes of $746 as of June 15th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. That concludes our discussion items. We've approved our minutes. We've had our town manager's report. So we will go to the left here. Selectwoman Gilman. We'll ask you to start Select Board Committee reports, please.
I have nothing to report. Upcoming meetings, Heritage Commission and possibly the HCC.
Terrific.
I don't have anything to report either, but I'm sorry, I meant to get my calendar open. The capital improvement plan, the CIP, will be before the planning board on our next meeting, which is August 13th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. And I'm happy for you because I think that I don't remember the last time you didn't have a meeting.
I know.
So I'm glad.
Parks and Rec, the Rec Advisory Board, Arts hasn't been meeting, so it's like
good.
having summer
Good.
off. Thank you.
Selectwoman Cowan.
I also have nothing to report.
Mr. Chartrand.
I had two meetings. The Conservation Commission met on the 14th of July, a Tuesday at 7 p.m. And the Train Station Committee met at 11 a.m. on Thursday, the 16th of July. And that's my report.
Terrific.
Mr. Chair, I did have one thing actually
Sure.
I wanted to make note of. After the Heritage Commission gave out their first John Merkel Preservation Awards, one of his sons contacted us, and he plans to come every year to see.
Oh, that's fantastic. Terrific. Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
They did look pretty proud about that whole thing, weren't they? Yeah, that was sweet.
So I guess I'll take up the tree committee met on July 14th, talked about the level 3 restriction and opportunities to start planting some trees. Public Works can load the water trucks and have them ready the night before so that we can hit that 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. watering Sweet Spot Monday, Thursday on odd, and Tuesday and Friday on even, depending upon where those trees are planted. Eileen Flockhart, the chair, met with the new principal at Main Street School, so we're going to try to get some initiatives for the elementary school kids at Main Street. Bob Glowacki was there. He's going to meet with DPW and try to do some cool videos with some of their trucks. The water truck, they also have a truck that will tell you real-time temperature of what it is outside, so wheels were spinning. Bob's got some great videos planned, so more to come there. Swayze Parkway trustees met July 15th. Thank you to the chair, Dwayne Staples, for allowing me to excuse myself from that brief meeting. They just went through, the things that are on their agenda. So nothing new there. River Advisory met July 16th. Mr. Cohen was there to introduce himself. We had a Pickpocket Dam update, and several of our friends from Brentwood were there and asked some good questions, and I believe that their questions were adequately satisfied by Mr. Blasich and the consultant. There is going to be a public Pickpocket Dam public update at the Exeter Public Library on August 20th at 6 p.m. So we'll advertise that again at our next meeting. And Mr. Cronin also gave a quick DES services for flow study update. River Advisory won't meet again until September. And tomorrow I'm going to sit in on half of the trustees of the trust fund meeting just while the investment company is here. I don't know, you going to that, Mr. Stevens? Okay, then I'll make sure I'm there for that. National Night Out, August 4th, 4 to 7. I've already told Chair Jones that I will not be at the Pearpoint Park Committee meeting, but Dave Sharples will be there, so that will be covered. Budget Recommendations Committee kickoff meeting is August 5th. That's one of our favorite times of year, Selectwoman Belanger, you and me. And I'm meeting tomorrow with the executive team and the chair of the BRC, Bob Kelly, to just get ready for BRC, so.
Do you want to talk about the neighborhood meeting that we went to last Tuesday? Touch base, 45 people, I think I counted, had showed up. Just so people understand what I'm talking about, sorry. It was a neighborhood information meeting at the library for the roundabout detours. I think it was well attended. It seems like anyone that had concerns or questions, they were answered. So
yeah, it was very positive tone. The contractor was there, the consultant was there, Public Works Director, Paul Blasich. And I think the key, what they were excited about is the commitment to have this project completed in the month of August prior to school opening and prior to the election.
August 29th.
Yeah, and even if that entails work on Saturday or what have you, they're going to get this done. And then sort of the closure to that, there'll also be a meeting tomorrow night at the library at 6 for the School Street project update, a similar meeting. And again, Steve Cronin will be there, and then I plan to attend. And again, it's just getting the information out and keeping people informed of what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for bringing that up. I received 2 phone calls from folks that were at that meeting, and everything was positive feedback, and appreciative of staff taking the time to do that. And thank you for going. Okay. Correspondence, we talked about this. We have the email from Mr. Furlong to bring us, make us aware of what we talked about earlier. We have the report from New Hampshire DES, which memorializes the annual site visit at the Exeter wastewater treatment plant on June 9th. We have a letter from the chair of the Chamber of Commerce talking about the guide that Mr. Cohen talked about earlier, and the aforementioned report that we were lacking in our last meeting, Mr. Wyndham, the
which I have found.
Community Business Engagement Program report. This will also be on our website, if it's not already. And we did put in the petition that you submitted at our last meeting with all of the signatures. So that's for everybody to see in our packet. Reviewing the board calendar, we meet again on August 10th, August 24th, September 14th, September 28th, September 1st is available should we need to meet in between August 24th and September 14th, understanding Mr. Chartrand will be unavailable, but I don't think we'll need to unless something emergent comes up. And again, the primary election, September 8th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Tuck.
Yeah, just remember, it's the day after Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
So,
is there any other business before the board this evening? Seeing none, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Motion and second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We stand adjourned. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.